God. Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, Evidential Medium and Mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you. Hello?
What's up? I can hear you.
Michael?
I'm here.
Okay, I wonder if there's an echo because we're on both shows. Okay, so we tonight have...
I'm going to turn the volume down on my phone so I can't hear you on my phone, but I can hear you on my headphones. Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, how's this going to work? Because I'm not going to hear. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, I just closed it up. Yeah. Let's see how this goes.
Hello, hello. Are we live? Are we live? What is up, Blog Talk Radio? What is up, Rumble?
Here we go.
I have a little bit of echo on Mary Amy's end. Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, Evidential Medium and Mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you.
What is up? What is going on, everyone? So we are coming to you a little bit later than we normally are because we are on Blog Talk Radio and we are also streaming live on Rumble. So if you go to Mary Amy's Rumble page, you can actually see us. You can see who you're actually listening to. You can see us behind the microphone, see us in the studio, and we have some cool stuff coming up for you tonight. But before we get into what's going on tonight, let me introduce you to my fabulous co-host, Mary Amy. What's up, Mary Amy? How are you? Let me see. I'm not hearing you through the microphone, I don't think. So let's... As far as next week, we are doing grounding, I believe. Grounding, meditation grounding. Blog Talk. You're not hearing it. Mary Amy, I think you might not be connected on Blog Talk. I just got a message that they're hearing me, but they're not hearing you on it. So anyone that's out there, if you're not hearing Mary Amy, she just told you a lot of wonderful stuff about what's going on. But while she's trying to log on, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on tonight, what we're doing. Like I said, we are trying to do a dual video and live broadcast. So, when two psychics get together, sometimes electrical stuff that goes a little wacky, especially computers, internet connections, Wi-Fi, all that good stuff. But we are discussing tonight, we're talking a lot about empathic abilities, being an empath, and what goes along with the situations of being an empath. So let me talk a little bit about that. So let's see. I think you can still hear me. I think Mary Amy is trying to log back on. So I'm going to talk a little bit, see if I can hear her on my headphones, and I know she's on with me.
Hi, can you hear me?
And I think I'm hearing you now. Woo! I am hearing
you know
Mary
what? This
Amy.
is my computer microphone, so there we go. That's what we're going to go with. So you do hear me for sure?
I can hear you, absolutely. I can hear you now.
I have to do a little recap. All right, so everyone out there who didn't hear me, I'm really excited that we're here this evening. Tonight it is episode 16, and it's May 16th, and tonight's show is all about empaths and energy protection. We also have a psychic reading. We had someone that had contacted me through social media. We said that if you follow us on our Facebook page and if you follow us on Blog Talk Radio page, then we will give you a reading, and it'll be a little bit more in depth than the normal readings. And then next week we have a show on May 21st, which is a Tuesday, and it's going to be about meditations and grounding yourself. And then the following week, May 30th, we have guest Alexandra LaCour. She's an author of Healing Wisdom from the Afterlife. I apologize for everyone on Rumble who is hearing this again. And then June 6th, we have Athena in Truth, which is a collective consciousness. Now, I want to hear, I apologize, this is all new technical stuff, and I'm doing my very best. Okay, so what are you going to share with us? What's been going on? Because you and I have not really spoken. I know you've been busy. What's going on, Michael?
Yes, the schedule is jammed right now. We have really cool stuff coming on. So what is up, everyone? So glad you could join us tonight. There might be a little bit of echo going on, but I guess it is what it is. We have a little bit of echo. I don't know if you have headphones. If you have headphones and can not have the outside speakers picking it up, that might eliminate it, but I'm not hearing a lot of it now. But either way, so we have the Touch Mother Earth Festival coming up. Really cool thing, if anyone is in the central New Jersey area, or if you're anywhere near New Jersey or the tri-state area, there is a fabulous event going on called the Touch Mother Earth Festival. And that is in Farmingdale, New Jersey. So if you look on my Facebook page, you can check that out. All the details are there. I would say that's the biggest thing. And what about you, Mary Amy? What's going on?
Well, I've been really focused now on doing these Rumble videos. And here we are. This is the first one I'm doing with you, and I'm excited about it. And I was actually really kind of intimidated by the whole Rumble because there's all these podcasters and they have these, big shows going on. And I said, I can't do YouTube anymore. They took down another video of mine because they said I was a conspiracy theorist. So in a nutshell, basically, I'm going to start doing regular Rumble shows once or twice a week. And it's going to be about prayer and visualization. And I want to get into more about healing your inner self and psychic phenomenon, about your ESP. And that's kind of my focus. I am, going through some transitional changes in my personal life, and that's kind of taken over quite a bit. But here I am. I'm excited. I'm going to see you at the end of the month, and we're going to do this event on the 27th of May. And what town is it in?
It is in Farmingdale, New Jersey. So it is a large campground. People are coming in from all over. They stay for this whole Arch Festival with music, dance, different vendors, energy healers. So it's just a great time, and it's a great collective of all different healing modalities and varieties of stuff you can check out, handcrafted items. So it's workshops and classes. I'll be there that Friday night on the 24th doing an opening meditation, and then we have the Mediumship Gallery on Memorial Day itself. The Mediumship Gallery starts at noontime. It is free admission, so you don't want to miss that. If I'm getting a little bit of echo, you guys are hearing that, and you could just let Mary Amy know. She can see the computer screen if it's echoing. If it is, you might have to mute your stuff when I'm talking, because I'm just getting a lot of echo on my end. So
yeah, I don't know how to make this better, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I just don't. I'm looking at it. I don't know if I'm even connected. You can hear me, though?
Yeah, I can hear you. So I would say you're definitely on Blog
Radio,
Talk.
But you have an echo yourself. So
yeah, on my end, let's see.
Am I hearing it now? It says. Now it's saying I'm not connected. Am I connected?
I can hear you. So I would say you're good on Blog Talk because I can hear you now.
Okay, so I'm going to invite this. I'm going to invite. Let's see. For this reading, I'm going to invite her on right now. And then maybe if that doesn't work via email, I'm going to call her. I think I might. I think I have the proper message. I think I have the proper information. She never contacted. Oh, no, she did. So thank you very much. Look for email. Or I'll just call her on the phone, right? Maybe I'll just call her on the phone. Should I just call her on the phone? I don't know. It says send an invite. Okay, I'll just tell her to call in. How about that?
All right, you want to tell her? Do you want me to talk a little bit while you're telling her to call in, or what do you want to?
Yeah, that's a great idea. You do that.
So empaths.
This is a test. Everybody has to understand, have patience with us. It's fun to be here.
Have empathy for two psychics trying to work out, doing a live video stream and a Blog Talk radio show at the same time. So we'll talk about just some of the identifying traits associated with empathic people. So in general, empaths are feeling tuned in to feelings of others. They can pick up on the sensitivity of others. They can pick up on that energy in situations and spaces. Sometimes in large crowds, that could be a little overwhelming to very empathic people. And understand that empathy and having a strong intuition and that connection to the energy field around us, that's basically the foundation and the start of developing your psychic abilities. But first, you have to tap into that. So, okay, number one, you have a lot of empathy. You feel a lot of the energy of others. So that's usually the opening foundation and groundwork of knowing you're very sensitive, you're very intuitively tuned in. Say number two, closeness and intimacy can overwhelm you. So a lot of times empaths can find close contact difficult. Romantic relationships can be challenging initially because for empaths it may be hard to connect and open and really expose themselves in that way, and it can be very stressful or overwhelming. So just understand it may be normal to be a little closed off in close relationships, and not even significant partnerships like that, different friendships, different family circumstances, number of things that can be very overwhelming. So you have good intuition, gut instinct, that reaction that we always talk about. If you follow that and you listen to it, it tends to push you in the right direction. It steers you correctly for your highest and best. That's your empathic traits at work. Your spidey sense is tingling. So when something just seems off, you don't know why, and you don't listen to it, you find you have yourself now in a situation that you're regretting or backtracking, trying to get out of that situation. So that was your intuition trying to talk to you. We need to listen when it speaks. The more we tap into that, use it, listen to it, the easier it is for us to be guided by it and use it for our highest and best. It's always speaking to us to try to bring about our full potential or the best in any situation or circumstance we're navigating. You take comfort in nature. I would say number 4, empaths generally benefit from spending time in natural things. Empaths may even feel more drawn to nature in remote areas because natural environments always provide a calming space, rest from overwhelming sensations, sounds, emotions, all the things that tend to trigger very empath people. We feel that energy, we feel those emotions, we feel those sensations. So we may react a lot differently than someone who isn't tuned into that feel and sense that. So understand get complete peace in the forest, by the water, listening to those waves, listening to the ocean, listening to the wildlife and nature unfolding around you. The energy of trees. They say trees can absorb negative energy from humans, and they can release it back into Mother Earth and help ground your energy. So basically, any type of overstimulation, any type of chaotic energy, that natural environment, those natural settings can help you ground and find that internal peace that empaths absolutely have to get to at least once a day, if not several times. Number 5, empaths generally don't feel comfortable in crowded places. And this is something I think sometimes people tend to overreact to this one a little bit, because in general, you don't necessarily have to be super empathic to be overwhelmed in crowded places. But I can tell you, the more empathic you are, the more that overwhelming, chaotic energy of large crowds can throw you off. Even, some people have even told me it makes them nauseous, they can feel dizzy, it can bring about anxiety, so many different things can come from that. But I can tell you, the more we utilize and work with it, the less it's going to be magnified, and we're going to be negatively affected by it. We can actually use it and utilize it to uplift us and charge our auric system, charge our chakra system, recharge, release negative emotions. So there's a lot you can do with that, and a lot of positive can come from it once you start working once you start working with those energies, you start understanding it and how it functions in you and how you absorb it and release it. So crowded places may overwhelm you. I would say number 6, a lot of times empaths have a hard time not caring. So a lot of times you're that people tend to cry on. People will lean on you for emotional support. And a lot of times empaths have a hard time saying no. That's definitely something they don't want to disappoint others. They feel, it's difficult to say no or not be part of, something that's going on in the friend circle. It's really stressful, but the counterbalance to that is going into that chaotic, loud, energetic environment may overwhelm you too. So you have to find that happy balance and find a way to not absorb that, so it isn't overwhelming, and you can enjoy those outings, those connections that are very important, I think, for all of our well-being. Number 7, people tend to tell you their problems. I think sensitive and empathic people tend to be fantastic listeners. Your loved ones will feel comforted by your support and reach out to you whenever they're experiencing difficulty. Caring deeply can make it hard to support people. When to not approach you, or if you're feeling overwhelmed, a lot of times it's hard for you to say no to others, and then you're taking on their energy, and then you can become completely displaced and ungrounded, and that can cause a number of different things: headaches, nausea, dizziness, overwhelmed. You can go into a freeze-like state. So we have to keep a check and balance of other people's energy, people telling you their problems, people dumping their stuff off on you. But the more you work with this energy, the more you understand it, the less it's going to affect you, the less it's going to overwhelm you. Initially, it can really overwhelm you. But as you learn to deal with it, it becomes less and less overwhelming and more manageable. So understand that everyone is talking to you about the problems, everyone's talking about the issues. And anyone that's in the holistic energy field, that's in natural health care, that's very psychic or working with these energies, people are definitely going to be drawn to you. You'll find that. Naturally empathic people pulls that energy in, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So when people come to you telling You know, if you go, I'm not empathic. I don't sense this, but everyone is telling me they're probably. Everyone wants to talk to you about what's going on in their life. Well, just know your intuitive energy and that empathic energy is unfolding around you, even if you're not completely understanding it or completely seeing it. But that could definitely be a sign that, yes, you are very empathic. Number 8, you're highly sensitive to sound, smell, and sensations. So when you're very empathic and this intuitive ability is magnified at a very young age, and then it can come and go, and the more you just sit with it and the more you tap into it, you're going to feel that increased sensitivity. So with that being said, increased sensitivity to sounds, smells, sensations can always happen, and they make it go, and it's very gradual. As you start working with this energy, you know, fragrances and odors may affect you more strongly. Certain types of music you may be turned off from listening to. You may find meditation music or abrasive loud stuff may trigger you a little differently. Or loud stuff can charge you up, and it can almost make you a little more aggressive or anxious. So a lot of times sounds can relay into the body as a physical sensation that can affect you in a different way. Understand listening to media, the news, information that's in front of you, whether it's, you know, at the tip of your fingers on your phone, whether it's on your computer, whether it's on TV, just know all that stuff is absorbing it. So be very, very aware and pay attention to everything that's in your environment, everything that's around you, and everything that's coming from other people that's not of your energy. So just be aware. You can be highly sensitive to the sounds, the smells, and the sensations of an environment, others, and that may trigger certain things. So just be aware of that. Number 9, you need time to recharge. Highly sensitive people can absorb a lot of things, including the pain, the trauma, the anxiety, and a lot of that low vibrating energy. If you're not aware of that energy and how to deal with it and how to block that out, you're very empathic, you can tend to absorb that, and that can cause an overload of different types of feelings. That can be very exhaustive. So in that process, be aware of it. Also have things in place that can help you reset, that can help you recharge, that can help you release any type of emotion that isn't of yours, and that starts to allow the harnessing and the understanding of that energy and how it circulates through our body, how it affects us. Want to do that prior to feeling that or experiencing a major burnout, a major setback, a major health ailment, and understand these emotions. They start as emotions, but as they manifest in the body, if they're manifesting negatively, they can come about in health conditions. It can come about in panic attacks, anxiety, and headaches, a number of different things. And you may not know what's triggering them. Well, look at your emotions, look at your intuitive abilities, and how you're absorbing the energy of others. And if you're not recharging, you need to recharge, and you need to make time to reset, release, and recuperate. The 3 R's: reset, release, recuperate. So just remember those 3 R's. When you're recharging, the recharging is the 3 R's. So number 10, you don't like conflict. A lot of times, empaths dread, actively avoid conflict. The higher your sensitivity levels are, I think the easier it is for you to take things very personally into it, and that can really feel like a personal attack, and your feelings can go to extremes around that. Even family remarks, or even if someone's just being sarcastic and being nothing up, and that's just their personality. Whether that's right or wrong, just understand how you're absorbing criticism or how you're absorbing, you know, an offbeat remark or something impacting that may not be necessarily negative. Someone may not even feel how they're saying it. And understand a lot of times when people are acting in those ways, or if negative things are coming from someone else, it has nothing to do with you. And most of it is coming from that person's self-limiting beliefs, that person's internal problems, that person's internal trauma. We're all dealing with things that we have no idea, and a lot of times we have no idea what someone else is dealing with. So just understand the energies of others can affect you highly. So highly sensitive people are going to act with conflict, but we can work with that because certain types of conflict are good. Sometimes we need to argue. We need to get that out in a positive way, in the most constructive way. And conflict can be done in a positive way, and it's to learn to adjust our emotions and understand those emotions, so we don't abruptly react. We don't speak in a manner that we're going to regret. We understand those emotions. We sit with them. We rest, we recuperate, we recharge. We have all those things that then we can come from a more balanced foundation, and we won't be as reactive. So, number 11, a lot of times empaths don't feel like they fit into normal societal things, even school, even certain social situations. A lot of times empaths may feel a little different, or they're drawn down and off path. They're going down the beat, not the road that everyone's going on. Sometimes we're drawn to those other worldly things. We're drawn to that secondary path. We're trying to find things in our own way, understand them in our own way. So a lot of times when you're not fitting into what is quote unquote normal, you may be very empathic, and that's totally normal, but that can be very exhaustive. It can be very stressful if you're not understanding those emotions. A lot of times, number 12, a lot of times empathic people tend to isolate. A lot of times empathic people, and we don't understand it, and sometimes someone just kind of disappears for a little bit, and you don't hear from them, and you're trying to message them or call them, and a couple days later, now you're hearing from them all the time. Well, sometimes highly empathic people just shut off and shut down. They shut the world out, and it's almost a sense of isolation. The less we understand this energy and the less we work with it and utilize it for our highest and best, the more we're going to tend to isolate. And the more we're going to just cut off everyone else's energy, that outside energy. And it's almost like a mental health break. But sometimes it can come off very negative, or it can come off as, hey, I'm being ignorant, or I'm ignoring people, or I'm not being responsive, so whatever it may be, people may not understand the mindset, the mind frame that an empath is and where they're coming from. So communication is very, very important when we're trying to understand this energy, we're working with this energy, and we're trying to recharge and rejuvenate. So you don't need to isolate, you just need to understand that energy and properly utilize it, properly ground, properly find your balance, and the fundamentals that can help you reset. 13, you have a hard time setting boundaries. Boundaries are very important in many different aspects of our life, whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether that's work. So if you're an empath, you may struggle to turn off the ability to feel and find it impossible to stop feeling. Even when you have no energy left, sometimes empaths will just completely deplete themselves and say, you need to fill your cup before you can fill the cup of others. So it's so important for empaths to set certain boundaries for our own well-being. If you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to properly take care of others and those around you that need you? So just understand, setting boundaries is not a bad thing. It's actually a very imperative thing that we can implement as empaths. Set those boundaries, set those limits. You can recharge. You're not overwhelmed, and then you're bringing your best self forward for those around you. 14. A lot of times, empaths see the world in unique ways. When you have these deep emotional sensations, and it drives your intuition, you almost understand things at a different level. You're seeing the human aspect of it, but you're also absorbing and understanding the spiritual emotions, energy, and frequencies of the situation, circumstances, and people. So when we're picking up on those things, the connections that we're making may not be clear to anyone else, but you may be picking up on energy from their subconscious, from their word field, their psychic intuition, psychic information, realm of the collective that are now trying to shift and push energy to you so you can connect to them on an energy level for their highest and best. So environments that don't provide much space for emotional expression can dampen your creativity, they can dampen your sensitivity. A lot of times, if you're not in the right situation, and this is something that's supporting you physically, emotionally, and it's for your highest and best, you can become very disinterested, you can be disengaged, and you can struggle to thrive in the type of environment. So understand your uniqueness is also your superpower, but you need to use that and utilize it in the right environment, the right environment for you so you can thrive. So understand the normal way, the normal routines may not be the ways that you need to be on. That might not be your path. That may not be the situations and circumstances that you need to be in for your highest and best, to embrace your unique ways. Number 15, I would say you may find it tough to cope with sensory and emotional overload. So many times it can be difficult for empaths to protect themselves from taking on other people's emotions, other people's energy. So we need to have good self-care practices in place, healthy boundaries, and that will basically insulate us in a sense from that negative energy and anything that could be a little chaotic or not of our highest and best. So whether that's negative emotions, negative energy, negative environments, negative circumstances around all those particular situations. So basically the emotional noise of the world can cause significant distress if you lack the tools to manage it. So it's so important to just understand the variables around this, understand how other people's energies, the environmental energies, and the energy of situations can affect you. You start understanding that you utilize it. You shift that energy for your highest and best. You shift it in a way that you can recharge, you can rejuvenate, you can bring your best to any situation in any circumstance. So just know it's a process. And anyone that's going along this journey with us on Two Psychics, you know it's small steps. It's going to be something that we continually work at, we continually do. But like anything else, the more you work with it, the more you build that energy in a positive way. So just keep working no matter how small and no matter what the setback is. And I guarantee in several weeks, in several months, into a year, you'll never be the same. You'll never see energy the same once you start working with it and understanding it. It's one of the most beneficial things you could possibly do in your life that doesn't take anything other than being more aware and more present in your current situation, in your current circumstance, and your current point in time. You're not focusing on the past. You're not focusing on the future. I mean, those things will come up, and those things have their pros and cons. But the more you're staying present in this present moment, the more control you're going to have over these energies as they affect you. So I would say they are the 15 top things that you need to pay attention and be aware of when you have the sensation, feeling that you're highly intuitive, highly empathic, and you want to learn how to utilize and express yourself in the most positive way. What do you think, Mary Amy?
Well, you know, I enjoyed listening to your list, and
I think there's probably a few other things, but
yeah,
I think that was just like a rundown.
So I am an empath, and when I began this journey, from the time I was little, yes, I was intuitive, but the empathic part of me took over, and I couldn't really tune in like I can now because I hadn't mastered it. And so I'm an empath, and so everything you said I completely understand because I feel what other people are feeling. And I go right to their heart, and that's how I started learning about my psychic abilities, was because I would tune into someone. So if I woke up and I was really happy that day and I encountered someone in my life that it didn't even matter who, someone either was very pleasant and sunny, I felt that. I felt their heart. I felt their joy. I felt their bliss. And the same went for if someone was in a very upsetting mood, or they were angry, or they were sad. I took it on like it was mine. I felt like everything was mine, and it wasn't. It was because, it was very confusing, to be honest with you. There wasn't this kind of information out there. I didn't have anyone to guide me on what to do. So I'm going to share you my explanation. I'll tell you a little bit about what happened to me. So, empath. Now, what is empathy? It's to feel for someone else. So there's more empaths out there than you realize, and sometimes empaths attract other empaths as well as narcissists, which I'm going to get into that. So empaths are highly sensitive individuals, and we're like sponges. You're an empath, you understand what I'm saying. You absorb everyone's emotions and moods and feelings, and it can really bog you down. You can feel overwhelmed in crowds. Like Michael said, everything Michael said is right on point. And you have, like I said, the ability to feel the pain and joy of others. You most definitely need time to be alone so you can recharge and re-energize and regroup. So, for example, when I do an activity that's in a crowd, or if I'm exerting myself and I'm around a lot of people, then the next day, the following day, I really have to kind of be alone. And a lot of people don't understand how this is. They don't understand, like, what's wrong? Like, well, I don't understand what happened. And it's because I'm tuning in on a level, even after I mastered this, because I'm clair-empathic and clairsentient, which means that you have the ability and understanding to kind of protect yourself. And I'm going to talk about energy protection. But even though I know how to do that, I still feel like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. I need extra sleep. So I might overlap a little bit these traits of the empath, and I know he said some of these, our emotions and feelings are based on someone else's experience some of the time. You have to kind of spend a little bit of a moment figuring out what's mine and what's that person. And it can get kind of confusing. And you can actually, on a daily basis, or there's a pattern in your life that you actually get kind of addicted to someone else's emotions, someone else's feelings, because this is kind of how you've lived your whole life, and you don't know anything else. So you can attract the toxic ones and the narcissists because there's a pattern of energy, a give and take there. They take yours because you're empathic, and you help them to feel better, really. So you can feel overwhelmed, uncomfortable in crowds. You have this unbelievable gut reaction and intuition within you. An empath, like an intuitive, is someone who's almost like they've gone through a maze and they can get right to exactly the information you have. Like Michael as a medium, and he is intuitive as well, the psychic, he can tune in and just really kind of get into whatever the information is being relayed, whatever impression is coming through. We have this way about us empaths that we're really comfortable in nature. We feel, because it's peaceful and calm, and we like that. We like to be in the forest or the woods or on a sandy beach, and the quietness and the sounds in nature. And we do sense negative energies to a fault, and we take them on, and it can make us exhausted. So we do attract narcissists and energy vampires. And, you know, a lot of times you find out that in relationships, narcissists are attracted to empaths, and empaths are attracted to narcissists because they help each other. It's like codependency. The empaths also feel like they want to help everyone, and sometimes they don't have the abilities, and they swap out what's important in their life for what's important in someone else's life because they just want to help and help and help. And I'm going to get on too quickly. What do you think, Michael, about what I'm saying? Does that ring true to you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's good for us both to explain it in our own way, because what resonates with some people, the way I explain it, may not resonate with others. And then you say it and have a slight different spin, or it's very similar, just explain it differently. But I think we're both hitting the bullseye. It's right on target, and that's exactly what it is. You know, we're really picking up on that outer energy that isn't necessarily ours, or sometimes our own internal energy. If we're focusing on some of those negative, lower vibrating frequencies, we can draw those in. So like will attract, we have to be very aware of the energy we're putting out there and what we're drawing into our energy field also. That's a very important additional aspect of this.
And I think I want to just say, my philosophy is, yes, for many, many years, I was tortured. I was suffering because I just didn't know what was going on here. I thought, like, oh my gosh, do I have a personality problem? Because I would seem okay, and then all of a sudden I would just feel everything was zapped out of me because I had no understanding of how to protect myself. And that's what I'm going to bring on right now. Because until I figured that out, it was really a really tough way to live. And I would start every day fresh again and new. And I still do that, and it's much easier. So here's some ways to protect your energy. And you don't have to be an empath to know these. Okay, so here's some ways. My suggestion is to imagine a white light surrounding your body. Now, I'll say to people that I know who are empaths, I said, okay, I'd like you to imagine a band of light about 6 feet long, or at least it's the length of however your height or if you're sitting down, the width of you, or the height of you, and it's about that long, and then you just can say white light surround me, and it's an instant shield to protect yourself. Like when I go to church, or if I'm in a crowd, or I go to an event, let's say I go to a party and I forget to do it, I'll say, oh, why do I feel like my heart is pinching? It's because I'm getting everybody's mood. And I also am so sensitive, and maybe you are too, that you're realizing it's almost like you're highly aware, where you can hear other people's thoughts, and it's overwhelming. Like maybe someone who doesn't like you go into a crowd of people and you can feel what they're thinking because you're so tuned in, because you're empathic. Okay, there's some more suggestions. I'd like you to imagine or visualize, close your eyes, and if you do this right now, I'd like you to imagine that your whole entire body is sitting in a rose color bubble of light. And so you're surrounded and you're protected. Now, the more you do this, and it's like a 2-second thing you're thinking about, the more that you do this, then it's just going to zap on. Hold on a second. I keep having trouble with technology here.
Why Mary Amy's coming up with that. Another really good one, too, in addition to the bubble of light, we can envision that we're almost in a waterfall of golden light, this golden white loving energy, and it's just flowing through us, and it's washing anything that's not the highest and best out the bottom of our feet back into Mother Earth. So that protection bubble, and in addition to that, the waterfall of energy just cleansing and purifying our aura field, our chakra system. Both of those are very, very powerful.
Okay, another one would be, anyone who's listening on the Blog Talk Radio and isn't seeing this, I'll explain it. But if you're somewhere, and let's say someone's coming at you, and it could be someone you know, and when I mean coming at you, they're angry or they're in a mood, and you don't want to absorb it. If the white light doesn't work, if the rose bubble, I suggest you take your arm and you put it across your chest. So you take your left arm and you put it over so your elbow is covering your chest. And that's a way of physically protecting yourself so that during this encounter, you're not being emotionally injured. Okay, now here's a suggestion. What I'd like everyone to do is I'd like you to put all your weight on your bottom, like I normally say, right? We're going to put all our weight on our bottom, which is the base of our spine. You're going to get comfortable, either, sit or lay down, and you can close your eyes if you like. And I'd like you to let out a breath. And now what I'd like you to do is, okay, you're going to let down any kind of doubt that you can do this, let down any of your protection, and allow yourself to be vulnerable. And I'd like you to go to the moment that you can remember, the very first moment in your life that you were emotionally injured or you felt blamed or someone was basically hurting your heart. I'm going to be quiet for a minute, and I'd like you to push any doubt you can, drop down into your physical vessel. I'd like you to go to the exact event when you first felt some kind of emotional pain, anger, sadness, fear, suffering from someone else. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'd like you to go to that event so you can see it from the perspective of being an adult. And this is how we're going to alter your belief system. And we're going to basically be walking through a portal. You're going to let go of the past. You can bring yourself now. Okay, so I'm going to be quiet, like you go to that event. I'm going to do it as well. Okay, now when you go to that event, I'd like you to look at this person. Go back to the memory of the event, the first time in your entire life that you felt like someone was emotionally attacking you with anger, sadness, fear, hate, whatever it is. And look at this person and watch them from the perspective as an adult that you are right now. And look at why they're doing it, because we're going to try to take this away from you. I'm going to let this go and release it. I'm going to be quiet. What do they look like? What do they sound like? What colors do you see? Where's the location? How are you feeling? I'm going to be quiet right now. Okay, so for me, I'm going to give you my personal experience. I was a child, which most likely most of you are. So I highly doubt that you get all the way to being, much older in life, and then you have this first experience. And I looked at this person's eyes, and I got their feelings, and I realized that they were in a moment of distress, and they were taking it out on me, and they were scared. And I went to how I was feeling, so that I can kind of actually make a new assumption about that person, and also probably have some kind of healing moment. I don't know if anyone else had this experience. Now, I'd like you to also accept whatever this was and embrace it, because when we embrace, we unblock ourselves. So I'm going to do that right now, and we're almost done with the exercise. And I'd like you to tell yourself that you're a good person and you didn't do anything wrong because you probably were a child. And you'll let this go. Let out a breath, and maybe later on you can reflect on it, journal on it, or maybe it's just going to just float away for you. I don't know. Hopefully, right? Okay. So before I get on with Michael, we get our first caller, I want to say to accept this ability that you have as an empath. It's beneficial and it's extraordinary, and it's something that you can tap into that other people can't. But we must master it by protecting our energy, like we gave some examples, so that you're not receiving other people's pain. So if you decide to be a healer or a helper, like Michael and I are, or an intuitive, or someone that works with their psychic phenomenon, you have to begin to understand more and more of your abilities so that you are not, it's not upsetting you, right? The separation of you and someone else. It's coming from an outside source. It's not your stuff. Whether you're receiving through your heart, your clear empathy, your clear sustenance, through your hearing, through your sight, whatever it is, through your knowing, okay? And the last thing I would like to suggest is to have a sacred space in your home that you can go to, that you feel protection and you can re-energize yourself, and that way you have a clear and positive environment for you. That's what my suggestion.
Good stuff. And I think, not to oversimplify it, but I think if we break it down into 3 pros, 3 cons of being an empath, you could look at the pros good listener. You have the warming, heartfelt energy that everyone wants to lean on. So technically that is a really good thing, but you have to understand that you need to put limitations on how much energy you're absorbing from those other people. So pros are a good listener. You understand people on a much deeper level than other people, and you have the ability to detect dishonesty. When someone isn't being truthful or isn't approaching things in an honest way, or something that is mutually beneficial, or something that can't. So you have to look at it as you pick up on any type of deception. So whether you're going to buy a car, whether it's a relationship, whether you're going to work with somebody, there's many different aspects of it. So even if you don't want to do what we're doing, just to be able to understand and utilize this energy for your own highest and best is very, very important. So pros, you're a good listener, you understand people on a deeper level, and you have the ability to detect dishonesty and deception. The cons, to be overwhelmed in large public spaces, in larger gatherings where there tends to be more chaotic energy. You can have mental strain for taking on the emotions of others and not knowing how to properly release them. And you can risk burnout without setting the proper boundaries. So again, the cons, you could be overwhelmed in those large public spaces. You can take on mental strain for not understanding how to process other people's emotions, and you can risk burnout when you don't set those boundaries. So there are pros and cons, and we have to look at all aspects of it. But the more we utilize this energy, the more it'll be for our highest effect rather than debilitate us.
I believe it's a gift. Didn't realize for a long time. I thought everyone felt this way, and everyone was feeling everything at a heightened ability, and so it was confusing to me. But now I realize it's a gift as soon as you figure it out. And if you are an empath listening, I'm asking you, if you meet someone else who's an empath and they're struggling, to give them some kind of guidance, because a lot of people don't realize. Okay, so I don't want to run out of time on Blog Talk, and I want to get on. So we did have someone that I thought was going to be on the first caller, but then we had someone else. I had someone contact me early in the week, and I don't know, they just haven't called in yet. And I invited them, and we said we give a reading, and she's not there. But I have someone else who contacted me and would like to come on. And would you like to get our first reading tonight?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see. I don't even know her name. I know nothing. She reached out to me on the internet, so here we go. Hi, who's this?
Hi, Jessica.
Hey,
what is up, Jessica? How are you tonight?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for taking my phone call.
You're welcome.
I had a specific question. I don't know exactly how you guys work on the show.
Okay. So first off, just where are you calling in from?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. All right. So you're close. You're on the East Coast here with us.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want you to do is initially just give us your name slowly again. We're going to connect to your energy. We're going to let that energy field open, and then you can present us with the question that you have.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Jessica.
Okay, Jessica. And what's that question you have for us?
So I moved to Pennsylvania a couple of years ago from Jersey, and it's been quite a culture shock to where I am. And I've grown this sort of hate for living here. And recently, so there's been a lot of things that have come to mind as far as how it's so different here than New Jersey, New York City area. So I've been sort of writing a book, just bullet points, and I've been playing around with maybe different ways that I can present this material, like who I would sell, who would be my market and things like that. And I just started sharing some of the information with people around here, just as far as like from a cultural perspective or a communications perspective. Mm-hmm. And they didn't like it. They don't like it, of course, because they don't like anything really that comes from New Jersey or New York City. And I'm just wondering, like, my concern is just like, in a way, I feel like, try to keep things under wraps as far as like my feelings about this area, because like I don't want to like self-destruct. I'm planning on moving. But I just wonder, like, why do I keep getting these ideas of, like, I want to do something with my energy related to, like, the frustration or whatever is coming up. So I'm just wondering, like, what are you picking up? Like, why is this idea?
And I think what you're going through is totally natural. So they're saying you're a city slicker, huh? And they don't want to hang or talk to a city slicker. I've been called that a few times. No, it's all good. When you shift abruptly like that, when you're used to a certain dynamic, a certain energy field, and I think what we're talking about empathically and this intuitive energy, I think what you're talking about is a very good example of a complete shift of that energy and that environmental condition and how it affects us. So I think a lot of what you're saying is, like what I pick up on it, there was a lot of stimulation, there was a lot of excitement, there was more of a faster, upbeat energy flow that you were used to, and I think more of the isolation and that shift into a completely different environment kind of threw you off kilter because your energy structure had its checks and balances a certain way. They were set a certain way, and now they're resetting. I don't necessarily think the energy I see around this, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for you. I actually see the shift as something very positive, because what I see around this is that you're going to have to really push in and you're going to have to dig deep, understanding and utilizing your own energy, your own energy field. So I think this is really the universe's way of giving you an opportunity to look at your own well-being, your own inner self, aspects of your own personality and what you want and don't want, and you may be able to see things in a deeper perspective. Now, I think you're getting that opportunity. I think there was, so around this and what I read around your energy, even though it was good and you liked the environment you were in, I do feel it was filled with distractions. It was filled with analytical mind pushing you through many priorities. I do feel there was an abrupt shift. I do feel there was some shift around the family structure, the work structure. So this was multifaceted. That kind of pushed you out of the energy cycle you were in. I believe that on a deep level, your soul was somehow pushing you into a new environment, challenging you on different ways that you weren't used to. So honestly, the energy I'm seeing around this isn't as negative as I think you're perceiving it. I just think you're in the center of it, and you're having a hard time stepping back and seeing the outer view. Now, as far as the books and your creative process, understand that what other people are saying or what they're talking about or negative, anything negative that's in relationship to what you're trying to do, it may have nothing at all to do with your book or your writing or what you're talking about, and it could be completely everything to do with their self-limiting beliefs, their own issues. Maybe you bring up insecurities and negative aspects of them that they can't follow through with something. They don't have the creative ability to create on that level. There's an underlying jealousy. So you can't always take things for what is on the surface, how things are unfolding, how they're being perceived. There's many different things that we don't understand. There's many different things that we don't know what's going on in a person's situation and circumstance. So I would say, do what you need to do, write the books you're writing, and don't worry about the other people. I can tell you the most beautiful things come creatively when we're just divinely channeling that information and it's coming through. We don't know why it's coming through in a certain way, shape, or form, but it is, and we just embrace that, and we don't worry about our own self-limiting beliefs or the opinions of others. because you don't even know why that energy is coming at you in that way. And it could be completely that person's self-lifting beliefs. And I think anyone that writes, anyone that's creating, anyone that's very artistic, you're naturally empathic and you're intuitive and you're tapping into that. So you're going to take things to a little bit more of an extreme. So that's what I'm reading around this. I think what you're doing is very positive. I think your writing will go to new levels and you'll hit like a new stride in the writing and the creativity because you're in a different environment. And I think this environment is going to challenge you to elevate your creative artistic abilities. So I do see a lot of that in your energy field. So I don't think it's as negative as you think it is. I just think there's a lot of circumstances that you need to take a step back and look at the big picture because your self-limiting belief has nothing to do with you. So, and who are the people telling you this? What's their background? Have they ever tried to write a book? Are they a New York best-selling Times author? You know, do they have 50 publications? Do they even have one publication? Take a step back and look at those things and understand people can only communicate in a way that they know, and sometimes the way that they know is self-limiting beliefs. It's their own fear of failure. It's their own childhood trauma, and that overflows, that pours to you. So just take it for what it is and know that there may be deep-seated insecurities in the way people perceive what you're trying to tell them. So what are you picking up on, Mary Amy?
Hi. Let me see if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
Hi, I can hear you.
Okay, good, because I have this whole technology thing going on here tonight. I appreciate you calling in. And so what I received, Jessica, was, and right away I saw it looked like a tic-tac-toe board. It was very rigid lines. That's the symbol I saw. And you're talking about doing something creative, which is writing. And what I receive about you is that you're very much a person that is, I guess, needs a lot of order, has more of a stake in going with, I guess, people agreeing with you, or you're used to that. You're used to that being in a place where there was approval. And when you get into a new realm, like something creative is writing a book, all bets are off, because that's authentic, genuine, original insight and energy. So you're creating something from nothing. It takes bravery, and it takes inner power, and it takes a perspective that it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Just like when you paint a painting, it's all perspective. And so what I'm going to say to you is I'm going to say we have to let go of an energetic pattern that you have. And the energetic pattern is that you're used to maybe receiving conversation a certain way, and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It only matters what you think. When you create something, it's just about what you're doing. You can't ask someone how to do it. I think you have to take away anything negative. You have to allow whatever's going to come through. This is a learning experience for you. I know you're someone, I'm sensing that you're someone who needs a lot of order. For this, we're looking for more of a wiggly line than a tic-tac-toe board. It's more of just let it go. You have to let go of any of your own, I guess, beliefs that we need approval. We don't need any approval. So how do I suggest this? Be more optimistic about yourself. You are a brave person that you are trying to create something original and new. I saw a book before me, and the book opened up, and it was sunny, which represents optimism and positivity, which is a good sign. Okay, so here's some suggestions to let this go. Write down all the feelings you have everything that you're feeling, because this is feelings we're talking about. This isn't reality. If people are saying negative things, that's hurting you. That's your feelings. We're going to let that go. Journal it out. Write it down. Don't ask other people for what they think. It doesn't matter. It's your work, okay? And remind yourself anything is possible, okay? And start to have some kind of mantra, okay? I can do this. I am great. I am creative. I am an author. Call yourself an author. Pat yourself on the back. What I found that whenever I created something, because I wrote some books, I did art, I did acting, I did a lot of creative forms. I never asked anyone what they thought. I never did. I just did it. And don't tell people what you're going to do until you have something concrete, because then it might take you down before you even start it. So those are my suggestions, Jessica.
Jessica, a really cool thing that producer Rick Rubin, big producer, he produced the Beastie Boys, a lot of rock artists, a lot of rap artists. So I don't know if you're familiar with Rick Rubin or not, but he had a great saying when he was talking about how the top artists' creativity unfolded. How did the number one songs come to be? How did this great music come about, and what was part of the creative process? And he was asked this in an interview, and the best artists don't care about anything other than creating the best thing they can for themselves, and they let that unfold through them, and then they share it with the world. And he said that's when he sees the most special, magical pieces of art occur, whether that's a piece of painting or whether that's a piece of music. Allow it to unfold in your own way, how you see it, and then share that with the world, because that's where the special divine unfolds through you. That's where that divine manifests and expands, and that's where our intuitive abilities start to unfold. It's in that same process. It's in that same unfolding. So, Jessica, I just want to bring up a couple things. As Amy was bringing you through, I saw a farm with horses, and I was drawn to Idaho and potatoes. So I don't know if there's anything significant about that, or family from Idaho, or the horses, but it's in your energy field. So I just want to share that. I'm also being drawn to you getting back to water. So I think a big part of what you're missing about New Jersey is maybe the shore or the ocean, or you being able to experience that release around water. So can you take any of that information?
Right. So I actually have a bunch of things to say on your reading, because you picked up a lot of great stuff, and I'm going to go on into the horse and the farm thing too, is that, so I've written books. This is a different type of book. My concern is that there's a lot of like anger, frustration that has come up for me. And so that's kind of what I'm like bullet pointing, and then like kind of figuring out like how am I structuring this book. Like my question, like what my concern or question is like, do I want to put energy into this? Because it's a lot of like just annoyance with people. So like that's kind of what's in the debate.
Let me ask you this: if your soul's calling to you and it's a high calling, it's going to keep calling. It's not going to let go. So I do believe if you really feel this book is that important to get out, it can influence and help change certain situations, certain dynamics, whatever they may be. If it's that important to you and you're being intuitively guided to write this book, then I believe you're being intuitively guided for a reason. Now, anything that's special, anything that's our highest and best, is not going to be an easy path as it unfolds in front of us. Sometimes it can be the most challenging path that we ever accept to walk on. But anything that's that challenging, I think we're being called to for some type of divine purpose, some kind of special reason. So if you truly believe that book needs to get out, that information needs to get out, it doesn't matter what other people think, and it doesn't matter what challenges are set in front of you, because if you can see it in your mind's eye, if you can visualize this, if it's unfolding in front of you, there's a reason that's happening, and I do believe you're meant to go on that path. And I do believe these challenges are for your highest and best. I think you're going to look at emotions, how they affect you in a certain way, maybe learn to deal with things in a different way, maybe learn to direct your energy, maybe learn to maneuver and manipulate through others' energies in a new way, find new ways to release anything that isn't of your highest and best, find new ways to process any kind of anger, frustration. So I do believe there's actually a lot of beneficial energy around this for you, even though you're looking at it from a sense of anger and frustration. I would take a step back and say, hey, well, these are the cons to this. It's making me angry, it's making anxiety. I feel people are being disrespectful. But then at the back end, if you write it and it comes to people and it can help people, or it can uplift them, or it can shift the narrative, or give people a different perspective, I think you need to take a step back and look at the pros and weigh them back and forth. But I believe you're being able to do this because there's a bigger picture at play, and you may not be seeing the whole picture in front of you because you're caught up in the energy and chaotic energy around it, letting that energy overwhelm you. Focus on your breath. Focus on releasing that energy. Focus on not taking it personal, even if it is personal and even if you're being personally ill. Just take a step back, separate from that energy, and try to intuitively bring through the most divine guided and soul, and see how your soul is speaking to you. Take yourself out of the environment that's making you feel anxious. Shift everything. So walk out into the woods, find a mountain, find a lake, whatever it is. You need to shift the energy, and you need to shift the environment so it pulls you out of the chaotic center point, and you start seeing it from an outside perspective.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and all the stuff that you were saying earlier was 100% correct. I mean, a lot of things have been positive about me moving here. I have been moved out of a lot of all that stuff you were saying, family patterns, career, like it's been huge shifts, and I've also risen to the occasion amongst all the things that I didn't like. I grew a lot from it, and it has been great. As far as to answer your question about the farm and the horses, so the reason why I moved out to Pennsylvania was to live on a farm and to do my horse work.
Oh, there you go.
Work on horses. And I was living in the country for a bit, and I lived on 2 different farms, like not working farms anymore, but on farms, and I love it out there. But there was weird, this type of, like these people, these limiting thoughts, exactly everything you're talking about. That's what I want my book. This, like, I just thought maybe it'd be like a short, like, coffee table book that people can read and like examine their beliefs and stuff. But like, this area is pretty soulless. They don't do any self-growth.
but you know what?
It's just another attempt of me trying to bring that.
So let me ask you this question. What about everyone and everything outside of that area? You're just concerned about that area, but what about everything outside of that area? There's a whole world outside of that area, and how many of those people can be positively influenced and affected by what you create? I think that's what you have to ask.
Yeah, I like that vision of it. Yeah. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add that I really strongly feel like this is a very positive thing. As time has gone on, I think that you have to follow through on this, and we don't want to have any regrets. And what's the worst thing that can happen? You already are. It seems like if you're calling, you've already plowed through quite a bit of this, and maybe this is the tail end of it. And I bet you get stronger from this experience. There's something here that you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to go through, and maybe it's going to help you with something in the future, some kind of other opportunity, and you won't, you won't give up. I think you should have to keep going with this. It's like what Michael just said is so valid. It doesn't matter about any kind of naysayers or small-minded. But also you might be there to enlighten these people too. That might be what your mission is. It might be that you're there to show them the way.
And just pause for that for a second, because I think that's sort of what I've been examining a lot, because I thought that I was also coming to Pennsylvania to help enlighten people here. And then as time went by and I saw how stuck in their thinking and their programmed thoughts and all, this is all stuff that I teach. So when I saw all these program beliefs, the limiting thoughts, all this, fear of strangers, all this crazy shit, I was like, you know what, this, it just kept coming up. But lately I've been like, you know what, I really feel like I'm on my exit plan from getting out of here. And I think, and it's just been a lot of sort of, I guess in a way, powerlessness that I've been feeling, because there's anger on how I've tried so hard to present myself in different ways to these people. But at the end of the day, if people aren't interested in getting to know their soul or doing any self-growth, that's not going to, you're talking to the wall. So I would, for me, I just started, I was sitting down today and I said, let me just write down some thoughts, how I would do bullet points about my experience, things that I don't like here compared to how, cultural differences. And I said, that would be really cool. I could see myself teaching about this. I used to study this in college. I could talk about it more. And I was thinking that was good. But then I did speak to some people, I know not to just because I'm just trying to sort out what the energy is. And I was like, hey, at least maybe I could open the conversation here with people. But it was the same, again, if they have no basis of introspection, you're not going to.
Did you ever think about this? So let me put this in a slightly different perspective for you. Did you ever think that the universe is trying to put a difficult path first to try to challenge you? And if you can get through to either one of these people, you can make even a small minor shift. With these people, then because the impact you can make someone more open tuned into this. So I think there's a reason you're getting this type of challenge and you're getting this type of resistance. And I think you can find a way to break through it. And like I said, even if it's just one person, I think you're being challenged in a difficult situation because the universe wants you to press through this and find a way to persevere and find a way to rise up against this challenge that's in front of you. So I do think that your overall well-being and your perseverance and your persistence will pull through, and you'll see positive outcomes around it, even though you're not seeing it at the moment.
Okay. So thanks for sharing that.
And try to see both aspects of it. Even if you're looking at it negative, try to find an approach to it. And just give yourself the yin and the yang, look at all perspectives, and don't get consumed and pulled in just with the next. That's going to start pulling you outside of the chaotic energy around it, and it's going to help you make a more balanced, rational decision that your emotions aren't pulling you into. And tune into your intuition, abilities, more so when the energy of emotions are dictating the overall feel and sensation of what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I've played around with that a bunch of times that I was like, I'm going to persevere here. I am going to flip people. I was kind of playing a game with it and sort of maybe getting a little bit into that. I was just was feeling very determined. But then also I was playing the other end of it. And I was like, maybe this is still an unhealed childhood wound that's coming up because, that was one of the themes of, again, a major childhood wound of trying to get through to my parents, and that never worked. And the lesson was just to leave them alone. So I was why? I was saying to Spirit, why do you still have me here? Because I don't think it's helpful for me to keep replaying this childhood wound. I have to just let these people be. They don't want to be
part of the process. That may be part of the process is finding a way to navigate and release this and let go. That could be part of it. I think in a sense answered a lot of your own questions. I do believe that's how you're being intuitively guided to maneuver through this. I would say sit with it, let this unfold, try to look at it from the outer perspective, and let us know in a few weeks how it's going, what kind of shifts has happened. Even if there's one person that's tuned in and open to it, well, there's your first breakthrough. There's your first positive step. But I do believe you're being challenged for a reason, and I believe you'll find your highest and best in this, and I think you'll find a lot of you didn't realize existed in a really uplifting, beneficial way, and how you can manifest positive through the negative emotions that are around this circumstance and this situation.
Mhm. Okay, good. All right. Thank you guys for
all right. Thank you so much,
sharing what you did.
Jessica, one more thing I'd like to say
it.
before you go.
Yeah.
What I found sometimes with clients is they've come to me and they've said, Mary, I don't know what happened. I lost my confidence, or they lost something because there was a challenge in their life, or there was an event that happened. And I said, no, you didn't have it to begin with. So now you have to start from ground zero, and you have to get it now. Because sometimes we find that things go along in a very, not easy way, but everything seems to fall into place. And then all of a sudden, you're like, wait, what did I do? I'm doing exactly the same. And you get out of sorts. You don't feel grounded. You lose your way. However, it's the journey that you're supposed to be on. And I believe that whatever's going on here, basically it's probably related to what you just said, that event of you saying that go to the first time that your parents did not agree with you, or you felt like you weren't heard, and go to that event and figure out exactly what happened there so that you can release whatever this is. And I bet if you do that and you release it, all of a sudden some of what these people say to you isn't going to matter as much, because it really doesn't matter, does it? It's not like you know them. These are strangers. Everyone's going to have an opinion. You know, you can ask a million people, and eventually you're going to find someone that's going to disagree with you. Now, maybe they're all clumped in one specific area, but I believe you can rise above this. And what Michael said, I'm a firm believer as well, which is maybe this is something that you're going to turn maybe one person in your direction. Maybe this is going to help you in the future with something else that you want to do.
Yeah, you know, Mary, the two things that you said. So first off, the anger comes from not wanting to deal with these people anymore. That's what the anger is. Like, I kind of looked past it for so long and processed things, and now it's like, oh my God, I just want to be out of here, or not have it be so difficult all the time. But with what you were saying as far as, so it's not necessarily taking what they say personally. It's just I can't stand constantly dealing with the closed-mindedness. So the other thing, what you said about losing yourself. So I went through a lot of situations where I felt like I sort of lost myself, and I came here, and it's interesting because through the experiences, I feel like I found myself even more fiercely than before, because originally, I came in real loud and proud, I guess, that New Jersey, New York energy. They didn't like it, so I started toning it down to try to fit in, and then something clicked, and I was like, I'm not doing that anymore, and I became more myself, more bold, and just not giving a shit what anybody thought, and I love it, because it's now I'm really shining here. So it's been so there's been a lot of different situations like that have been beneficial, again, with having the contrast. So yeah, I mean, I'll just keep playing this out just to see, I just kind of felt like I needed to do something with my anger rather than, I know better that I've already been there, done that, stuffing it down, So I was I want to be able to be creative with this. So I was just, start doing these bullet points, start mapping out this book. So yeah, that's the story. Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate your help. We'll see what happens.
Thank you, Jessica. Give us a call. Let us know how everything starts unfolding.
Yeah, we want to hear from you again. We'd love to hear from you again.
All right, I'll check in.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
Okay, yeah.
We really appreciate you calling.
All right, you too.
Okay, bye.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was really a fascinating call to me because it's like it can resonate with so many people with how things can turn out when you don't. It's almost like you think, oh, this is going to go a certain way, and it doesn't, and you're stumped. And then you try all these different avenues to try to feel better. And you just finally have to say, maybe you're not going to feel better. And you're going to have to go along with this and get through it to the other side. And that's what you're going to have to do.
I do believe we're challenged in certain situations. And, sometimes we have to find that courage, dig deep, and we have to pull through those chaotic circumstances, that chaotic energy, chaotic relationships, that chaotic job, whatever it may be. I do believe when we're sitting in the moment and we're being overwhelmed by emotions, we become very clouded and we don't see things in the proper way. That's why it's so important. Everything we're talking about tonight, working with the energy, understanding your empathic abilities, understanding your intuition and how that resonates and evolves into your psychic awareness, you need to utilize and work with that energy for your highest best. And in a situation like that, anyone that's listening and heard Jessica's situation, the more she utilizes and works with her own energy, the more of those external energies aren't going to pull her into these chaotic emotional states. So it's so important we empower ourselves to utilize the energy for our highest and best.
So I did get a call from the original person that was supposed to get a call, a reading. So I guess maybe next week. I don't know if we can take anyone else because we did start late, and I apologize.
We only have 11 minutes, so I would say we wouldn't.
I don't know what I'm so sorry, everyone. You guys are be patient with me. So I don't know even how this is going to pan out when we play it back. I feel like this was a great experience. I don't know if we can do it side by side or we do it separately, but I love doing these videos. We could do, maybe do this without callers and just do the blog talk. I don't know.
It's a work in progress. We'll figure it out. It's a work in progress, and we'll navigate it. It's always good. You jump into the deep end of the pool, right? Just jump in and find our way. It keeps it exciting.
What she just said was kind of like a smaller version right here tonight, because I had all this anxiety all day. I said, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And then I just figured out the show, and I just said, just try it. And then, you know what? Something's going to come about it. And I love doing video with you, and I love doing the blog talk. So maybe we'll do it together again. We'll see how this actually came out. I'll improve the technology. I'll get some IT person to help me, or we do it separately. But I'm really grateful, and maybe it's because I feel like we talked about something that I identified. I want to just say before we go, though, a couple things. Okay, so we didn't get to pitch our stuff, and I want you to pitch your stuff before we leave, Michael. So I have a dream journal, and you can get this on Amazon. And this dream journal is this is what it looks like, and it has room for 100 entries, because I believe that we should write down our dreams, our sleeping dreams. Okay, so it's my dream journal, a personalized messages, signs, and symbols. I also would like to tell you that I have a book that I talk about being an empath, and it's on Amazon as well. It's called The White Light Prophecies. And it's actually by Blue Butterfly. I use that name because I said, I don't want anyone to know that Mary Amy's an intuitive empath. And so I had this name that I made up, Blue Butterfly. So you can find that on Amazon as well. You can look at our profile on Blog Talk Radio, and you can find all of our information. You can find Michael's website, michaeledley.com. My website's going to be up in a few weeks, maryamyofficial.com. And now, Michael, just tell us exactly what you have coming up and ways that, you have of, I guess, giving readings.
Yeah, the easiest way if you want to reach out to me for an in-person reading or a Zoom phone reading, I do both. I offer small groups. I do large galleries. So if you are interested in receiving a reading from me, just reach out. You can find me on Facebook at Eye of the Spirits with Michael Edley. You can find me at michaeledley.com. You can also find me on Meetup, Eye of the Spirits with Nick Edley. I'm out there. Anything I'm doing is listed and updated every week. So find me on Facebook if you are on Facebook. Like and follow the Spirits of Michael Edley and True Psychics Radio, and we will have all the good stuff on there. We do have a large gallery coming up on Memorial Day. If you're in the New Jersey area or you want to travel in, Touch Mother Earth Fest in Farmingdale, New Jersey. And we will be presenting a fabulous mediumship gallery. And that's what I got going on, Marianne.
Yay, fantastic. Okay, so we are going to have a show May 21st. It's Tuesday upcoming, and it's going to be about meditation and grounding yourself. We are going to have callers, and I will let everyone know. If you look at our Facebook page, please follow us. Please follow us on Blog Talk Radio, and we will let you know if we're going to try to do this again, or we'll do it differently, but we will definitely be having a show, and May 30th as well. So, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you, Michael, for joining me tonight. It was lovely to see you.
Thank you, Mary Amy. Thank you, Jessica, for calling in. Thank you, everybody that's listening. Thank you for dealing with our technical figuring out part of the show. But as we do it, and as we figure it out, and as we get it sorted, we will be coming to you not only by Blog Talk Radio and all the other streaming platforms, which we are on, but we're also going to be bringing you some great videos. So you can see us and you can see what we're doing while we're talking to you.
Yes, we'll definitely. And we will let you know on Tuesday when the next video will be. So this is where we're going. We also are going to have merchandise with our logo on it. And you'll be able to get beanies and totes and sweatshirts and T-shirts for Two Psychics. So we're Two Psychics coming from the East Coast, New Jersey, New York, and we're wishing everyone well. And we hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week in the Matrix world and weekend. And we'll be back soon. So everyone, be well.
Thank you so much, everyone.
And I want good things for you. Thank you, everyone who is listening and watching, and we'll be back again soon. Bye.
Till next time. Thank you.